Ready? You guys can hear? Good afternoon. My name is Andrew M. Strode. I'm the Managing Director of Action Injury Law Group. It's a national civil rights law firm based in Chicago. I'm fortunate to be joined here today with my co-counsel, Stephen Hart, from Hart, McLaughlin, and Eldridge. Also joining us here today is Eric Russell, the American activist, Sergio and Matt Saratella from Vantius Investigations, and Cherie Berry and Lexis Berry are also here with us today, as well as Tiffany Getz as well. On May 28th, the city of Davenport and this community experienced an unimaginable tragedy. What we know is that at 4:53 p.m., Peach and Lexis were relaxing in apartment number 411. You can see it behind us. Within a flash and within a moment, everything changed for Peach and Lexis. Peach was trapped inside the building from approximately 5 p.m. until 12:45 a.m. Both legs pinned, water, gas, concrete, complete chaos, while first responders struggled to save her life. Lexis, with a hard hat on and with others around her, took Lexis into the building to go see Peach at that moment. They didn't know if Peach was going to live. They were able to perform an on-site operation and save Peach, save her life. And at that time, first responders and the medical team had to amputate her left leg above the knee. And I want to just take a moment right now. This family, Lexis, her mother, Peach, want to thank first responders and the search and rescue crew that came that evening. We also want to especially thank Dr. Calvin Atwell. Dr. Atwell was the trauma orthopedic surgeon who did the operation on site. We want to thank Blake Friedman, who was also part of the medical team. In addition, other doctors, Dr. Rob Carson, Dr. Ryan Dunlay, and Dr. Carrie Strickland. We just left Genesis Health, and they are providing Peach with the best possible care, so we thank them. This young 24-year-old woman, Peach, experienced an unimaginable tragedy and suffered life-changing injuries. We just left her in her hospital room at Genesis East. She's lying in a hospital bed, her left leg amputated above the knee, and she sustained a 30-inch laceration on her right leg. I will tell you, Stephen Hart and I are humbled to represent Peach and Lexis. I'll quote what she just told us. With her faith in God, her faith in her wife, her faith in her family. She said, I may have lost my leg, but I still have my life. Yeah. We are working with Peach and Lexis to make sure we get Peach the best possible medical treatment. And the reason we're standing here today is Stephen and I, about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, filed a lawsuit against the responsible parties for this tragic incident. Today, what do we want? Why are we here? Well, Lexis will tell you. We want justice. Peach and Lexis want accountability and to hold the responsible parties, Mr. Andrew Wold, the engineers, the contractors, and others responsible for this tragic incident, as well as the city of Davenport. The city of Davenport was also aware and on notice regarding the problems at this building. All I will say is this owner and others put profits and money ahead of the health, sanctity, and well-being of the lives of the residents in that building. Look at the red dress in that building. That's Lex's apartment. That's Peach's apartment. In a moment, their life changed. This owner and others did not value the sanctity of life, and because of that, we are going to hold them responsible. And with that, I'll introduce you to my co-counsel, Stephen Hart.
Thank you, Andrew. My name is Stephen Hart, Law Office Department Laughlin Eldridge, and together with Andrew and Action Injury Law, we are humbled and proud to file a lawsuit on behalf of Lexus. This lawsuit was filed in Scott County State Court this morning. It's a multi-count complaint, 80-page complaint, a substantive complaint, addressing the harms and the injuries suffered by these two wonderful, beautiful, strong women enjoying their home on a holiday weekend without any notice that their quiet enjoyment of their home, which we're all entitled to, would be disrupted violently, tragically, and result in catastrophic injuries for which they will both suffer from for the rest of their lives. And so we're energized by the resolve and determination of Peach and Lexus. And we asked them, what are you looking for? What is important to you? And what they said is, we've been quiet too long. We've been pushed down too long. We've been taken advantage of too long. And it struck us as we fell 4 floors into a pile of rubble that it's time for someone to be held accountable. And so the defendants in this case preyed upon those with less financial means. And it was part of their calculus to do so, because they figured that these folks had no voice. And why did they do it? To put a few extra bucks in their pocket? Why did they leave someone's home in a condition that was unreasonably dangerous, that they knew about, for not just days or weeks or months, but for years of time, years? This building that you see behind us was left unattended to, with no maintenance, or little to no maintenance, in a horrible condition. And get this, folks, they knew about it. They knew full well that the condition of this building was unsafe. And you know how they knew about it? They were told time and time again. Within weeks of this building crumbling, they were advised by engineers that this building was in imminent risk of crumbling. Imminent risk. What would any reasonable person do when a building's in imminent risk of crumbling? They would want to save lives. Get the people out of that building. Evacuate the building. Warn them. Say, you are at risk. If you want to live here, you're risking your life. Instead, what did they do? They deflected. They denied. They avoided telling anybody that lived in that building that their lives were at risk. And so what we've said in the complaint is, this is callous behavior. This is reckless behavior. This is intentional behavior. And it's going to be met with scrutiny and accountability. And that's our pledge to Lexus, and that's our pledge to Peach. And I'll tell you, I'm astounded at the strength of these two women, at the resolve of these two women. All that they've been through, they're determined to see this through, determined to find the truth. And that's what this process is, the truth-seeking process, where we have subpoena power to find out what these people knew, when they knew it, and what they did with the information that they had. And what you'll see in our complaint, what we found out already, is they knew a lot, and they did nothing. And they put good people's lives at risk unnecessarily. So thank you for shedding light on this. We hope you stick with this story. Don't leave it. There are real lives at stake here. And at this point, we'd like Lexus to come up and offer just a few words and a few thoughts.
We will also be sending the lawsuit to all of the relevant parties, so that 80-page lawsuit that Stephen Hart mentioned will be sent to you all, so you have that. And now Lexus Berry.
I just want to take the time to say thank you for everyone that showed up today, for everyone that remained on site and comfort, showed empathy to everyone that's in this terrible situation that's solving without homes, without material that we worked very hard to obtain. I just want to show a lot of love and gratitude to everyone that has been a voice for us, to give us the platform to be able to speak our piece. And then I also definitely just want to let you guys know that my wife's a very strong person, and I am too. We are each other's family, and we've been together for a very long time. This situation has shown us how to work together, step on each other's side, every single person that's been affected in this situation. All that we want is just accountability, to be able to have a culture, to know why this happened, and to be able to record their lives. We definitely also want to let you guys know that we are not victims to the situation, survivors. And I just
Yes, baby.
I'm sorry to everyone that's just been happening to us. I would have loved to those families that have loved ones that are not coming home. And just know that you guys are close, and thank you all for coming together and as a community, as a whole, and being able to just show us the love that we never knew existed, and to just be, to have a community backing us up in this situation. It's giving us the support, and to be able to go through everything that's going on, and we just want to start the process forward. And like I said before, life is an amazing gift, and just live it to the fullest. And all you have to do is live with your friends, and that's what we're doing. Everything is for a reason. As tragic as this is, we are not down. We're going to stand our ground and overcome the situation.
So next you're going to hear from National Civil Rights Advocate, the Executive Director of Tree of Life Justice League, the American activist, Eric Russell.
The first thing that I would like to do is just to thank God for his grace that he showed peace. But let me be clear, there is some real anger and there's some real outrage here, because this is more than just the tragic scene of a collapse. Also, we are at a crime scene. This is a crime scene. Robert Wall, this notorious slumlord, I have no other euphemism for a slumlord. Anytime someone chooses profit over people, that is a crime. That is a crime against humanity. Right now, Peach is struggling for her very life as a result of notorious slumlord caring more about money than the sanctity of life. We are outraged. Even there are so many people that failed Peach. There are so many people that failed the residents of this building. We have inspectors who turned a blind eye. That is criminal. When you look the other way and when you know the possibility of peril and death is imminent, that is criminal. These inspectors They should not be allowed to examine the structural integrity of a chicken coop. This sort of gross incompetence causes pain and suffering. The utter lack of leadership of Mad Mike, the mayor of this city, he failed us. He failed this city. And I suggest to you, dear brothers and sisters, there is some sort of evil cabal here. One must ask themselves some very basic questions. How does a building back in 1999 scheduled for demolition all of a sudden gets a facelift and a Band-Aid put on it, and now it's worth $4.2 million? How does that happen? How does you constantly ignore as a father? And let me share with you where my outrage comes from. Beyond the lack of leadership of Mad Mike Matson, the mayor, who failed us, beyond the incompetence of inspectors who didn't do their job, as a father, I can tell you, when I close my eyes, can you imagine Peach falling from depths in the darkness with cries for help, with water rushing over, the smell of gas, the horror? That is inhumane. That is what Robert Wool did. He took her dream and turned it into a nightmare. And I dare say to you, that is criminal. Some working class people deserve to be treated with a certain amount of dignity and respect. Why must it always be the poor and the working poor? People choose to look the other way. I submit to you that this is more than just a scene of a tragic collapse. It would be proper for the Attorney General, for the Chief Executive Officer of this city and state to file criminal charges against Robert Wool, because what he did was criminal. When you put money before people's very lives, that is inhumane. That is indespicable. And when you have so many people look the other way, it is a sad day. And I thank God that Peach was very strong, because so many people would have given up. But that day was not her great getting up in the morning day. God seen fit to prolong her life. And we will cry justice for Peach, because right now she's unable to speak. All power to the people.
So what we're going to do now is Lexus is going to take a few questions. Stephen and I will address any legal issues, and then we're going to go back to see Peach. So if there's any questions for Lexus, please. If there's not any questions, we can go ahead. Go ahead.
When you say you seek justice, what does that look like to you?
To me, justice is everyone is involved. Every single person is involved in the situations where it's not It's a ripple effect. It's affecting people. It's affecting lives of the building, the businesses that surround this building, other residents that live in this area that had to be evacuated as well. They all deserve justice. They don't deserve to live in the night.
What was it like living in the building before the collapse?
And it was one situations where, to the eye, you're very nice. Updates, changes, and everything. Underneath the surface, you have your issues. Such things as the basic necessities not being management, not being able to fix things that were related. Back and forth, like you're begging to get the simplest thing here for a fixed or updated. It was not a pleasure.
It was fool's gold. Fool's gold.
Can you walk us through the time from what you were doing right before it collapsed until the next morning?
It was just normal Sunday. I actually got up to go to work. I actually got up a little bit early just because the store that day. Went home. I called my wife and just told her I was home. We were downstairs. I got packages from her mom up to the door. We even got groceries delivered. We're planning to cook dinner that night. It was a holiday weekend. Within the hour of us having groceries delivered, putting them away, spending time with our two cats, our whole world just shifted in a matter of seconds.
Literally.
Literally seconds. I blinked and everything was over.
What's it feel like being back down?
It can be overwhelming, but in a situation like this, it's good to stand your ground and fight those fears and not be afraid of what happened, but take it head on and acknowledge what happened and figure out how to move forward and how to continue with your life, because no one's life deserves to be uprooted. And I would not let this help me. If anything, I'm going to come out stronger than I was before.
Any more questions for Alexis?
How long were you a resident?
Exactly 1 year.
Are you and other residents getting support, housing, all of your material things are left there? Are you being helped adequately?
We have had a lot of support from Red Cross. Super thankful for them to be able to set up events, to have things donated, to have provide meals for people, hygiene products, clothes, and gift cards, and kind of try to pick up where they left off. It's really impossible to do that right now. So I do commend Red Cross for having these things in mind to help the residents and everyone else affected.
And there's also a GoFundMe that has been started to help with Peach Metal Bricks business. So we'll make those links available.
Other than sending you all the loss, anything else?
Our whole lives have changed as far as housing. There's going to come with a lot of trauma as far as who will never live in a hard again. And the same thing to my having a house that is accessible to her needs, for going to have to be negotiated to she is able to walk again, for having prosthetics. So it's going to be a challenge because it's a challenge that we're able to take on to build a life. That's what that's what kind of team of those that actually surprised me with 2 weeks prior to this happening. And then we had our own 5-year-old apartment that we had for about 4 years. For 5 days, we were working that we didn't have them. We didn't make it. Friday, we decided to we have King, which is our 2-year-old kid. But our 4-year-old, 5-year-old cat, Marley, who we've had for 4 years, is missing. And it's a possibility we didn't make it. And that's our family. And it's going to be hard trying to go forward, assuming that things are going to be different. It's not having animals. It's a big part of our life. A lot of fear. He's just such a sweetheart, such a light, and I know he'll always be with us. But it's just really sad that he also observed that.
Very good. Steven's going to take that question.
Can you repeat the question? There's a lot of evidence that's left behind. We gathered a lot of it, a lot more than needs to be done. That was one of the reasons why we felt it was important to get the lawsuit filed so quickly. We intend to seek preservation of all available evidence, all physical evidence, all electronic evidence, witnesses. And so, yes, we're extremely concerned about it. We're also concerned as to why the mayor felt it was appropriate to seek to demolish the building within hours of the event, which he knew full well would result in the loss of valuable information, knowledge, and evidence. Thank you for the question.
You said a minute ago that you'd already uncovered a lot of evidence in your preliminary look at this. Can you be a little more specific about what you found and what kind of evidence?
This building had changed hands several times, and what we found is when it was converted to an apartment building back in the 60s, it was essentially neglected for decades. And then in 1999, It was condemned, essentially given to a demolition, demolition. The value of the property was $100,000. Then it had a series of owners. And those owners, as far as we can tell, put little to no capital into the building. They essentially shoved people into a building that was ignored and dilapidated. We have structural steel experts. We've got building forensic experts. We've got brick and mortar experts. This building was constructed over a century ago. It obviously didn't have modern techniques. It did not take a certified engineer to identify obvious concerns with the building at the time. We've got historic photographs of the building. We know that it exhibited signs of serious decay. We also know that the internal structures of the building were denigrating and becoming worse over time, including the foundation and the roof. We also know that there was many city officials in this building over the past 12 months, 24 months, and years who failed to do their job. We know that there was multiple contractors, from structural engineers to masonry contractors and others that failed to sufficiently first repair the structural issues with it, but also notify the people that were living there that the building was not habitable. At the end of the day, it's very clear from the evidence that we've been able to amass is this: no one should have been living in this building. They shouldn't have been charging rent to live in this building. It was a risk. And what they did was, the defendants in this case, the owners, the property managers, the investment bankers, people that were charged with the responsibility of making sure this building was kept up when they offered it to individuals to live there, they really failed in that obligation to rest. And I just want to point one more thing out. Sorry for the long that was a loaded one. We've not only alleged negligence of all of these defendants, but we've also alleged punitive damages for their willful and wanton actions and inactions, their conscious disregard for safety. I don't think anybody looking at this situation would suggest that these people not only didn't have reason to leave, but they didn't have the knowledge and the intent. And we're offering this place for rent, knowing that they were putting people's lives at risk. They had to.
So some cases just like to take years to go and where
Quick question.
Well, but the first thing we're saying is our focus is on Peach. Our focus is getting her the best medical attention, rehab, aesthetic, and her needs. The legal case will run its course. We've got an aggressive team of lawyers, we've got a comprehensive team of experts, and we will advance the litigation process. But as Mr. Hart said, the lawsuit is on file. Discovery has started. We can issue subpoenas. We've already uncovered a lot of very damaging information, and we're going to get more through the discovery process.
And just to give you a practical example, how bad does a building have to be in disrepair where the annual elevator report, they express reservations about coming over and inspecting the elevator? When your elevator examiner says they're reluctant to come, isn't this building torn down by now? How in disrepair must a building be when the elevator inspector is reluctant about doing an annual elevator report?
We thank everyone for their time today. This story is just starting. So thank you very much. Thank you.